South Africa's gold mining industry has faced significant headwinds in recent years, from high productivity costs, safety concerns, and regulatory uncertainty. But despite these challenges, innovative managers like Akhona are working tirelessly to ensure that the gold operations in this country are productive and competitive. Today, we'll uncover the realities of managing a gold mine in South Africa.
Akhona Gqada is a manager at a leading gold mine in South Africa, whose journey is a testament to breaking barriers in a traditionally male-dominated industry. In today's episode, Akhona shares her unique perspective as a female leader in gold mining, discussing the challenges and triumphs she's encountered along the way. We'll explore how she tackles complex safety issues, maintains productivity, and navigates one of the most pressing issues facing South African gold mines today: illegal mining.
Akhona, welcome and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Sure. Gold mining is known to be rough and robust. Maybe just start by sharing with us your journey into the industry, particularly your first years into the gold mining space.
Wow. Well, after graduation, reality hit.
Sure.
Because now I go to the workplace. You know, starting from a learner miner going up all the way to where I am, it hasn't been an easy one, but it has been a good ride.
Sure.
Starting from issues like, because I was petite when I got to the mining industry, I didn't have a boot size.
Yeah.
You know, I was a size 3 at that time, and all the sizes were bigger. PPE was an issue because gloves, small, they didn't have the extra small. They only started from small. And a small for a man is different from a woman, right?
Yeah.
And, the overalls. But with the people that I worked with when I got to the mining industry, they then realized that the industry has changed.
Yeah.
Women have came in and some are very petite.
Yeah.
So they introduced the new PPE, started as a miner, getting used to the environment, and also I think for me, Fanagalo was the hardest to get around.
Yeah.
Having to learn how to speak with the employees in Fanagalo because I'm Xhosa.
Yeah.
So Fanagalo is like breaking my language. So it took me a while to understand and adjust to say this is a means of communicating in the mining industry, especially the gold mine. But from there, being a ship boss, moving all the way to being a mine captain, in all aspects, I'm glad to be working for a company that allows us to go through all the sections and also departments, because it gives you a broader understanding of the industry that you are in.
So how does retention look like in the gold mining space, given the tough conditions that exist there? And I'm asking you this because I know a lot of people who've gone into the gold mining space, and before you know it, they're out of the industry and somewhere in banking or other departments completely. How does retention currently look like in the gold space?
Currently, it's getting better. It's getting there. But I think during the time when I was still a shibos, majority of the people I came in with left.
Yeah.
Some went to consulting. Some went to departments like your environmental, your RME departments. And they left production, which is the core part of the mining industry, especially in gold. So with time, as it is changing, they are now seeing someone who is ahead and has gotten there. And majority of, especially graduates, now are staying in because they are seeing that it can be done. But before, there was no one that I could look up to and say, this could be me, because it was male-dominated and it seemed to be a bit harder than just finding an easy way out to departments.
But I mean, given that you've had people leave, did you ever feel like quitting yourself?
Oh, wow.
And what was that one thing that made you say, you know what, look, I'm out of this?
I worked in a workplace.
Yeah.
This morning I'm a miner. I go in. Seismicity happened.
Maybe explain what seismicity is. Yeah.
Now, seismicity is when we have tremors underground. The ground shakes because of the stress that is within the ground during blasting and so on. So some places are prone to it. And the workplace that I was working in was high grade and it was prone to it. So one day it happened and I'm underground. And now when you see that one, they say it's a wave, literally a wave of PEX support systems underground going up and down.
Sure.
So when I made it alive there, I came out and I went straight home. All I wanted to do is to sleep. I called my mom and I told her what happened. She said, leave that thing.
Yeah.
And I had to think and say, but how did I get here? You know, there are people that are working and relying on the knowledge I got from varsity to stay safe. So maybe this was giving me an indication also to understand what have people gone through underground. I mean, my mom even said, you know what, I can even try and pay and give you money to survive.
They're like that.
I can't lose you because of that. So that day for me, it was stepping out of production. You know, I'm just going to leave and go work in a bank or somewhere else. I went back underground after 2 days.
What did you do within those 2 days?
Those 2 days, fortunately, our company gives also counseling and so on. You know, I was fortunate enough to have one of our VP to be my mentor, where we met during the PPE issue that I had. So he ended up being my mentor. So at those 2 days, the following day, I had to go to him and speak to him. And with that in mind, you know, he then spoke to me and convinced me that this is the reality of mining. And it doesn't mean that when it gets hard, you must step out of production.
Sure.
2 years later, again, I wanted to leave production because I was not seeing, I was not going up the ranks as I thought I would, you know. And I went back to him and I said to him, no, I'm leaving production because everyone else left. So why am I still here? Then I remember when I walked into his office, he just took a whiteboard and started drawing bricks and said, sometimes you have to build like this. You are building a foundation. And I need you to be patient with this foundation you're building. Because there are no women on top. Once you get there, you need to know your story. I went out from that and I knew I'm in the right place. From then I stayed in production.
Look, hard rock mining has been hit by significant safety incidents. And when we look at gold, I think 2022 we lost about 12 lives and 2023 about 15 lives. That is one life too many, and safety is something very dear to us as an industry, and particularly as managers, something you uphold with everything you've got. What causes these incidents, and what are you doing as senior leadership to really combat and get these numbers to zero?
Wow, I mean, that one hits home whenever it happens. And I think most people don't understand that as a leadership, even if you are not working with that person directly every day, it actually takes you aback. You don't wake up in a day and you want to lose a person. You don't even want a person to get injured. You want your people to go underground and come out without a scratch. But it happens with the reality of the type of job that we have, you know, with the blasting operations that are in place. But we are fortunate enough that we have, you know, departments like RME, rock mechanics, that help us to ensure that the support is up to standard. I think for me, what worked for me where I'm working is being able to get a buy-in from people. Because sometimes people understand that they're putting the support because they want to please the management. But once you get to the heart of a person, get them to change their behavior, understand that they are doing this for themselves. You know, there are campaigns that we've ran where people have books that they put pictures of their loved ones. Some put their kids, some put their cows, imagine. Some put their families and so on. But that's a picture that we say to them, before you go into that workplace, just look at that person. And before you go in, make a pledge and say, I'll come out to that person safe and sound. Which is something I also do daily, to say, my baby is waiting for me at home. She doesn't want a mom without a leg. You know, I need to make sure whatever is being done is done safely. So for us as a company, it worked nicely because we got a buy-in from the people, where we gave them even the right to stop themselves. If you see it's not safe, don't go in. There's nothing important more than a life of a person, you know. Losing a person is for the industry. We don't want gold that has blood. We want clean gold. That makes us proud, that production. It's not a good year even this year, I mean, with fatalities that are in the industry, especially FOG. I mean, we started introducing nets in the workplaces, in the faces.
And maybe just to rope people in, FOG is full of ground.
Yes, full of ground. Yes. So you are underground and, you know, the roof, which I'll call it the roof, then falls, a rock falls from the roof. We have support systems that are put in. We had to carry the cost of making sure that we put now this mesh, jobbik mesh on the hanging wall, which is costly, especially in the deep gold mine, but it's for the benefit of the people working there daily, so that even if there are traumas underground, it doesn't fall on top of the people. So there's continuous changes that we are doing to make sure that people come out without a scratch every day.
Sure. Akhona, what I loved the most and something I took personally is just how you have personified safety to the people, where you say you've got a book, you put a picture of your loved one inside, and when you go in, you look at it to allow you to make right decisions. So you come out knowing the people that you've committed yourself to. How did you guys come about that? I think it's such an incredible thing because it speaks straight to the heart. How did you guys come up with that? Because I think industries must learn from this.
We had to sit down as the management with our safety department, of course, and we needed to look why these accidents are happening. And we found out that majority of the accidents are behavioral based.
Sure.
It's not like the support failed. The support was never installed. It's not like the winch went to a person. A winch now is what we use to scrape and remove the ore underground, So if that is in its own path, it's traveling in its own path, and someone goes to where it is, then it now injures them. That means it's behaviorally based. So we looked at all our accidents for the past 10 years and we went through them and found out really this is what is causing it. Hence we said, what keeps people motivated? We started asking that question. What drives you when you're going to work? Because we go for our families, to be honest. You're not going there because yes, the money is good, but that money, what are you going to do with it? For your family, So we said, what can we do to change that behavior so that people understand that it's not just us, but it's the people at home, Some people are from Lesotho, some people are from Eastern Cape, so on. So that's how the book came along. And in the book that we have, there's a place where you make your loved one sign, if they can sign. So to say, look at you, I'll put you here and I'm going to work for you and I'm going to come back okay. So those are the beauty of this whole book. And after we introduced it, we saw a change because we had a rough year as a company for 2022, 2022, I mean. And after we introduced it, our fatalities dropped. Our injury rate dropped. I mean, last year we broke the records in my shaft. It was a good one. I
actually saw you celebrating that, and congratulations.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
And we went all the way to change, behavior from people, and that worked for us. That's how it came about.
Oh, that's beautiful. Look, running a gold mine is no child's play. It's got its challenges, but I just want us to zone closely to the issue of illegal mining that happens in the gold mining space. I think it is quite rife and it's got a lot of economic and safety implications. And I know you've got an experience with that, with illegal mining in particular. Maybe just roll us into how your experience of illegal mining, how it happens, and just paint a picture of what illegal mining is and how it happens.
So a year ago,
actually
it's a year and a half, I was moved from a shaft that I was working into to another shaft that had challenges. And one of the biggest challenges there was illegal mining. And I remember walking into the shaft and the 3-1 then at the specific shaft said to me, I have 2 sections, you can choose one. Section 1 has no mine captain because my captain had an incident with the illegals, which made him, to move. Section 2, he was shot, but you can choose.
Shot, as in he was killed?
No, he didn't. He was not killed, but just
shot. Okay,
And you can, this section all have these challenges. Not only that, but other mining-related challenges, your production-wise, getting people motivated to get their targets. And we want you to take over. And at that time, I thought, I looked at myself, I'm like, out of all these big men, they are taking me to come and run this. But for me, I think it was an opportunity to make a change. And the reality of illegal mining is when you go underground, it's not a pleasant thing to see. Especially now you're a woman and the company has given us, assistance and so on to work with underground, but it's a reality that they are there, And the workplace itself, you need to be able to adjust and be able to get your people to understand that you are not there to remove specifically those people underground, because it's not your job. There's a security department, but you are there because you want production. It must not disturb your production. So it took a while, late shifts, early shifts, underground, making sure that the team itself, because we got to a place where even the workers wanted, they have joined the illegal activities.
Sure.
So then when you have your people now not at the face but doing other things, then it becomes bad for production, it declines. So we needed to get the people to understand, we needed the bonus system to work for them so that they get extra money also when they produce well. But I think one specific event that comes into my mind is when I closed water underground.
Yeah.
So I decided no one is working, let's close water. And it's okay because my people are out. Engineering department, do your thing, control, switch off. Then I get a call with that information to say, water you've closed, ma'am. Can you kindly just come back and open our water because we want to work?
Sure.
I want to work. Why? Because I have no one underground. So there are those realities where people don't really, know about. And you need to do it because your family is at risk also.
Sure.
And remember, when I wake up every morning, I don't wake up because I'm going to deal with illegals. I'm going to produce. I'm going to deal with breakdowns. I'm going to deal with people in safety and production. But it comes into play.
I'm going to take you a couple of steps back. So who are these illegal miners? Because it's clear that they know what they're doing. This is not somebody who rocks up, who just knows that gold has value, but it's somebody who even knows how to extract this gold with precision, with systematically how to do it. Who are these people? Where do they come from?
With the research that has been done, we've gotten to understand that some of them, not all of them, are people that have worked in the mining industry.
Sure.
And you can tell even the way they are mining, because they blast on their own. The places that will go off while you are not blasting. And we are working on how to resolve such things. But these are people who know what reef is. They know where it is. The reef is now where the gold is in the rock, And they know where to go. They have electricians that know how to connect and disconnect and fix. They know people that know how to change motors and do all those things that they are. So it's people with expertise. Either qualified or people that have learned through the processes. So I believe that majority of them are people that have worked in the mining industry and they just came back to do what they are doing, probably because of the gain that comes with it, because they get, a good sum of money from what I hear.
Look, you get a call that comes from underground and somebody says, manager, you've stopped our operation.
True.
Release us. I mean, it was probably your first call like that. What was going on in your mind and how did you respond to that? And how did you quickly link it to say, if I don't do this, my family is in danger? Because they saved real safety concerns when you're dealing with such things. So just take us through what went through your mind when you got that call and just also the safety around your family, your beautiful daughter as well, when you're making these decisions and how that makes you feel.
I remember when it happened, I just got home and I was preparing dinner when it came in. And now when you get a call, my phone is always nearby. So because of the operation, So when the call came in, I answered it because I thought it was just a call. And once they say, come open our water, they already have the information about your family. That's the sad part.
Sure.
And once they have all that information, where your child is going to school, where home is, I'm not talking about where you stay, I'm talking about home, where you're coming from, where your parents are, and it becomes, a point where you take a decision and say, my family is more important than any of these things that are happening.
Sure.
And I know I'm not the only one who has dealt with it. There are bigger things that has happened to other people that forced them to really, stay away from certain things. And I always say, as management, we're not there to deal with illegal. It's not our job. But we do try and advise going forward because it hinders our production. And the more it happens, our gold sector is going to go down. Actually, not only gold, it goes abroad. But it seems like gold has faced, the most of this illegal mining. So it always takes you back to say family first. And then what can I do? Obviously, there are other investigations that go on afterwards, the company trying to assist you in terms of that. But yeah, that's what happens.
But Akhona, someone can arguably say that as management, you are the gatekeepers. So there has to be some kind of systems where you are able to either restrict these operations, close off points where people can illegally come in, or control the access. So as managers, how do you have so much illegal mining happening underground when you are supposed to actually prevent it?
We are supposed to be, and we are doing our best in terms of that, being gatekeepers. We've installed cameras, we've installed electrical fences, we've gone all out to try and protect the people and make sure that we don't have illegal mining, you know. But unfortunately, the system is corrupt on its own. We know the system is corrupt. And you can argue and say maybe it's just the lower level people, but it seems like it's a bigger operation, you know, because they get material that they required. I mean, material that is big, underground. How do you get access to such things? Me as a manager, I don't know that car with that type of material has gone down. When the security find it underground, no, those people were supplied with 1, 2, and 3. How did it get there? You know, who bought it? How did it go in? We have cameras in all areas, even underground. But we still find corruption within the system where, from people giving access to go in. When you clock into our mines, you use fingerprints. You use your finger to go in. But people still go underground. So it seems like it's a bigger operation than what we are. And if it's that big, I mean, it should be big because there's a market somewhere that is allowing them. So who's buying it, Because the more it's bought, the more it will continue.
But what conversations are you now having with the police services and the DMR as well? Because this is not just you, and like you're saying, you've got a legal responsibility to make sure that people who go underground come out safe.
True.
You've got your obligation, your KPIs to the company to make sure you produce what is expected. And obviously there's now other key stakeholders that need to participate in this whole issue. So how does your conversations with the police and the DMRE and the community as well to just sort of support in sort of curbing this problem, because it's got real safety concerns and implications, particularly with ground conditions?
True. We've involved our unions, we've involved our full-times, we've involved the police, and I know DMRE is also working with us. Unfortunately, I can't disclose everything in terms of what action is being taken now in terms of trying to resolve it in each operation. But the bigger picture is the industry. We are sitting down behind closed doors to find a way. Because this is the future of our children, this is the future of the country, and the more it's happening, we are closing mines. Because, some mines have closed, not because the ground is not there. They've closed because the number of illegals is now being more than the number of people working underground. And remember, mines have inter-accesses. So you find one gold mine is deep. For second escape, there's another shaft that connects to this, and there's another shaft which is connected. So there's always, you try and block the side and they find a loophole somewhere else. So, some go inside material cars, a human being stuck there. Some are going down the vent areas. And so there's a lot of work that we're doing on our side, but it's going to take a while because, as I'm saying, the system itself is corrupt.
But unfortunately, Akhona, you find yourself responsible for their safety as well now. Just maybe talk us through what happens if now an illegal miner has got a problem. He's fainted, he's sick, he's underground, and he's not authorized. And I mean, your duty to care for a human being as well is now into play. Just talk us through how that now plays out.
We are responsible for them to come out. They get to our station. Now the station is where you get your conveyance out, up and down the shaft, which I will put it and say it's your lift. Maybe that's an easier word. And they go there and they call control and they ask, I'm sick, can you take me out? And it's our responsibility to stop what we're doing and go fetch that person and take them out. Obviously, the security then becomes involved when they're in hospital and going out and so on, and the police. One of the experience that I had is getting a call midnight and saying we had a seismic event, which is the ground shaking.
Yeah.
And it's at this place, ma'am. We just wanted to let you know we're still trying to clear and find out. And I gave confirmation and said, no, that area I don't have anyone working.
Yeah.
So it's fine. Just within the radius, we are okay. There shouldn't be anyone who's injured. And this is an old area that had high grade we're working in.
Yeah.
And 4 hours later, control calls again. Ma'am, there are people at the station. They literally just dropped one of theirs. The leg is out.
What?
And they went back. We are seeing them from the cameras, right? And we need to take them out. I've called already an ambulance because they know how the procedure is.
Yeah.
An ambulance was called out, and our proto guys assisted to take him out, and they were taken to hospital, and the necessary care was given.
Yeah.
But remember, this is a person who's here illegally, but it's a human being. You can't just leave them to die underground. So it requires also, it takes a strain also from you, because you know what, we are thinking this person is the one that is messing up things, but it's a human being, someone's father, someone's mother. So the industry or, we are responsible to ensure that they also come out safe.
Sure. Look, Akhona, there's actually organizations that are currently wanting to legalize the small scale or illegal mining, citing that there is more economic value for ordinary people than the formalized structure where somebody's employed, you pay them, they're like, no, that's not enough, there's a way. So they want to formalize that. What is your opinion on that, especially looking at the aspect of safety? And with your experience, have you seen safety concerns with them? Because I know some people don't even go there with full protective equipment.
Yeah, it's a risky one. And is what you are saying is they don't have PPE. If they have minimal PPE. They don't have your rescue packs, that with them. They don't have your overall reflective overall. They're wearing their own clothes and so on. Hard heads, if they are there, they are old and so on. So it's a safety concern, but also because when they blast, they don't blast what we want them, want to blast. So they're not using any survey layout to say, go this direction. So you find that you are mining here, but there are people mining towards you and you're not aware. So it ends up causing a risk, in terms of mining. But also for them, because they don't have all the material that we have to support, they use what they can use. So you'll find that in areas that they are working, there's no support, sufficient support, which is the reason why when these events, they get injured,
Yeah.
And this becomes a concern in the whole industry. But legalizing it, some countries have already allowed them to mine, but not in the areas where it's under a company. So let's say you leave an old mine and there's still ground there, then that is done outside, that. But if you now want them to come into our mine and mine in those areas, it's not going to work. We can't legalize something like that. You're already trespassing into someone's property, So it's different to allow small scale mining, which is done by communities, and equip them and teach them and actually coach and show them what they can do with the gold that is left where we've left already. But if it's coming now to the mine that meaning there are two landlords and they can't work, So for me, I'm not for the idea. If it's done outside the premises where there's still ground or there's still gold, then it's a different case for me.
Yo, Akhona, what would you say? Because I can imagine someone listening to you and like, I will never get myself into that. And I think the reality is that's the challenge we have. And that's why we need talent, even in our space. To ensure that we resolve all sorts of issues. So what would you put out there to say young people need to stay in mining, come to mining, and what is it in for them and their country?
Wow. I would say mining is my passion.
Yeah.
And someone will say it's so cliched for you to make it like that, because we know it's hard. You're making it look nice. But I don't see myself doing any other job besides mining.
Sure.
Mining is exciting.
Yes,
You wake up every morning and you get a different challenge that is there in the following day. Mining is keeping our country moving. We know majority of our economy is depending on mining, all resources. And for younger people, especially women, it's good for us to step in there, because remember, women have this ability to multitask.
Sure, yeah.
Women, they have this ability to nature anything. You give me a house, I'll make it a home,
Sure.
all this type of a thing. So we know how to nature things. And we need more of us in this type of environment. And more people that can reason and can, plan and use their expertise. The older people are coming out, This other day we had a meeting and the EVP says, everyone who's been in the mining industry for this amount of years, please stand up. Until we got to people that have been in the mining industry for 40 years. Sure. And they stood up. And majority of the people in the room, this is senior people, managers and VPs and SVPs. The majority of the people that stood up were old.
Yeah.
And those people are going to leave at the same time in the mine. What will happen to our future? Yeah. So we need to ensure that younger people are coming into the industry and you love what you do. There's nothing that makes it easier than loving what you do. I'm married to a gentleman who's, my husband is in the mining industry. Sure. So you find us just talking about mining, practical things about mining, and you end up enjoying what you do each and every day. So I would encourage anyone who's saying, maybe I've heard that mining has fatalities. Even in the road, they are. Even in the police, they are. Even in hospital. So you can't say you can't go to an industry because of that. Then you can go and make a change there, make a difference. And remember, these are our brothers and sisters working there. These are our grandparents. These are our mothers working there. So if you have the passion for it, a passion for a change, a passion to break barriers, a passion to exceed limitation, make a difference, then that's the place that you need to be.
What would you say are those challenges that exist that are just making this environment hard? And how do we navigate through them? Because of course we do have problems, but there should be a way out. Because I don't want to paint a picture that it's all rosy.
Cool.
It's not. But what are those hard stuff, and how does somebody navigate it through it? Because there's some people who are there already, like you're saying, people who are on their way out.
Yeah.
But we need to retain them. What are those hard stuff that somebody must prepare themselves for?
Yeah.
And work it out from?
So one of the challenges that we have in the mining industry is early hours.
Oh, yeah.
I've always not have been like an early morning type of a person, but I've gotten used to it and enjoyed it. So mining starts at like at 4 o'clock most of the time. So you are at the mine, let's say 4 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock latest. And it requires you to be at your maximum potential or, ability to work at those early hours of the morning. Mining requires you to be able to adjust to change.
Sure.
Because it's a ever-changing type of industry. Mining requires you to be able to breathe in and out.
Yeah.
Because there are people that will challenge you and you need to keep it together. Because you're dealing with people. You know, some places you sit in your office and there's no one that you will speak to. But mining, you go to the crews, you go down and speak to the people. You know, we have people coming up with challenges and you need to address them. So you need to be a person who's able to listen as a leader, because if you don't listen to the people, those people on the ground have experience. You know, they've done it, they've seen it. Even if they don't know the technical term, but they will tell you that if you do it like this
is what's going to happen.
It's going to work. But mining also, because there's men in the mining industry, it requires you to understand that you are a manager before you're a woman.
Yeah. Ooh.
There are people who have called me Mfazi, you know, and I told them I'm only married to one man and he's not here. I'm not a Mfazi, I'm a manager.
Sure.
You know, because once you start calling me with my gender, then already you are removing me, a certain part of my role that I've taken there. And you would think it's coming from a good point, but people are just ridiculing because they've never been. Like where I'm working, there's never been a female manager, you know. So you are coming into the space where you always have to break barriers and make people understand your technical ability, what you have to give in the table. Also, you know, there are challenges of going underground. I mean, during that time of the month,
girl,
I'm going down 3 kilometers down and I'm gonna sweat and I'm gonna, you know, there are PPEs that we have in place, there are toilets on the ground, but it's a reality that you just can't just, you know, rock up. You need to make sure you are put together before you go there, because it's gonna be a long day and you don't know what will happen while you're underground, at what time you'll come out. there's a reality that as a woman, most of the time I'm always in my braids. Not because it was my first option, but it's easier.
Yeah.
When you wake up at 4 o'clock, you can get yourself together and you're out.
And run out.
When you're from underground, you don't want to be now trying to fix your weave and because you need to be in the next meeting, you need to, so it limits you in some other. But when you look at all those issues that you deal with, it's fulfilling where you are.
Yeah.
It's just all the challenges that you go through as a person in the industry. So for me, wow, I'm enjoying where I am. I wouldn't change it for anything.
Sure. Akhona, you're a gold digger.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
So what would you say is your highlight in your career as a gold miner?
Wow.
That one thing that just stands out from above all the bad stuff and above all the good stuff.
I think looking back is safety targets.
Ooh, I love it.
The shaft that I worked in, I'm working in even currently, has broke the industry records in terms of gold mines.
Yeah.
In terms of industry, we've turned it like this. And that was a good year last year for us. And I'm saying safety before actually production, because also in production we broke records. We did well.
Girl.
So when we ended the year last year, I remember myself and the MOs, we were walking around handing out nice stuff like your t-shirts, your chocolates and so on. But what were we saying to the people? Thank you, because you're the ones who have done it. You are the one who made sure that we get this production, this safety record, because you are the people at the face. So that will be my highlight for me. The promotions comes as the
these
add-ons, because obviously when you are now being promoted and they can see the ability that you have, and even the younger people that are coming in, when they come to you and say, thank you for doing it for us, because sometimes you don't see, and you just sometimes need that pat on the back to say, well done, we are seeing what you're doing, and it's not easy, but we are seeing where you're going. So those are the highlights, to see other people as I go up. They're also going up, younger people behind me, and they're also rallying and saying, if you can do it, it can be done. We are seeing the effort.
Sure, Akhona, I strongly feel that there is some certain things we should be doing now as an industry for the future of mining, particularly looking at the gold space. And I'm thinking generational thinking. What are the certain things we need to be doing now? And I mean mine leadership, organizations in mining. We've got a lot of bodies that are women in mining, SACMA, this and that, all these. What are we supposed to be doing now that will cater for a successful mining industry in the future?
As I said, that majority of the older people are leaving.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've done in my where I'm working in my space, I've taken the new graduates and linked them up with the older people that are about to leave, who are doing well in production.
Yeah,
because
sure.
Because the more they see what they do on their daily work, they can improve. I'm not saying they will copy everything that they're doing, but there's a certain level of expertise that they have, a way of doing that we need, So I've begun to say in each section, there'll be an individual that will be tied with the mine captain. When someone gets sick or the mine captain is on leave, I'm not going to look around. That person must know the section. Underground, the new graduates that are going to become ship bosses, appointed ship bosses, they must work with the ship boss, and not just any ship boss. Those ship bosses that are about to leave, that have seen it, and they can tell you that, you go underground, they tell you, you see, this type of rock in this area, this is the way we can support it.
Yeah.
By the time the rock mechanics and the manager come,
you've done it. Yeah.
We know this thing, So I've begun to do that in the workplaces. But also getting to a point as the industry, understanding that Dala, we were writing in papers and manual things and so on. But now we need to adapt to the new space.
Sure.
Having it on your LinkedIn, having, these structures showing up on your Instagrams and so on, because that's where digitalization comes in. And if people are not seeing it, they won't come to it. They will think it's not there, or they will not even understand what needs to happen in the mining space. But the more we involve and have all these seminars and conferences, taking into account the difference in the old and the new. We learn from the old, but remember we've got the new stuff that puts
and the
us.
combination.
becomes
Massive,
amazing.
yeah.
Becomes amazing. I mean, I've worked with team leaders that are old. I learned mining from a team leader, not from a shipboss, by the way. Not from a miner, by the way, but from a what do you call it? A team leader. A team leader now is about 4, 5, 6 levels lower than me now. And you sit with them at the face. Don't rush you going up. Don't rush it. Sit down, understand. Let them show you. Leave your English away and just get to understand what they are saying.
Sure.
The more you see the practical side of things, even if you're sitting in that boardroom, you can tell them this is what you're going to do and how we're going to do it. And I've seen it work, you know. So we need to engage in those type of, because at some point they will all leave, the older people. And we need the industry to be continuing. But also we must look at how we get people involved, you know. Let's get each other involved in certain things. Let's meet up. Let's equip each other. Now there are more managers coming in, female mine managers. Why don't we have a sister-to-sister type of a thing, you know, where you are also mentored by? Because I'm mentoring some people that, you know, in the industry that are younger than me. Sometimes not in age, but in terms of position, they want to learn. So that when you do that, next time you move from that place, there's someone else who will come out.
Ready.
Yeah, who's ready to take over. But if you're keeping the information from yourself and saying, this is what I learned it the hard way, so you must take it the hard way. Really? Who are you helping? Are you going to go to the grave with that knowledge?
Sure.
So I think we need to start sharing knowledge more.
So Akhona, for someone who wants to pursue a career in mining, and eventually get to a level where you are, what are the things that they need to be, you know, do and consider so that they can enter the industry and even grow in the industry and also be influential like you are?
All right, so if you want to come into mining, obviously there is the studying part of it, where you need to get your blasting certificate in terms of the mine, where you need to get your documents from MQA, from DMR now, because it has changed, MRE, and your blasting tickets, and also your MMC, which is your manager's certificate. You need to get that of competency. But with all those, I would suggest that someone, before you actually step into, get a mine close by, go visit. Because mine do allow that.
Yeah.
Just see. Because sometimes, like myself, I came from Eastern Cape without seeing how a mine looks like.
Sure.
And I got underground and I was shocked. This is what I applied for. You know, and I eventually loved my job the way I do right now. But you need to understand that you are going into a physically demanding environment. You are going to an environment where it requires you to be there early hours. It requires you to give of your time. You know, you don't have family time as much as other people might have. I was just laughing with my husband to say, it's been a while since we had breakfast together.
Sure.
Those are things that you have to, you know, you sometimes miss as an individual. You need to equip yourself emotionally. There's something called emotional intelligence. And in mines, you need it because you interact with people. So you require that intelligence to be part of who you are when you grow up in mining, in the mining industry. Get a mentor. Someone who has walked ahead of you. Someone who will tell you when things are hard, because you get accidents, you get fatals, you get injuries, and it takes a toll on you. So you need to have someone who says, no, it has happened before, and this is how you deal with it. Come, let's work together. Let me show you how it's done. So you need to get a mentor who's within the industry. And the nice thing about mining, even if you've studied something else, it comes into play when you're in mining. You've done HR, you want to move to mining? You go. There's HR in mining, and you'll be better manager because you understand the HR side of it. You've done IT, you want to come to mining? Go. Come in. We are here. Because there's that aspect also in mining. So it's a well-rounded industry. Even if you're coming from another industry, you fit in perfectly into production with all the required certificates that obviously you need to acquire before you actually go through the systems. Sure.
Akhona, thank you so much for coming through to share your insights. I appreciate the fact that you stayed in gold. And you're such a sustainability thinking individual. It goes a long way in our industry. I so appreciate having this conversation with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was good being here, actually just having this chat. I appreciate you inviting me. Thank you.
Sure. It is very clear that gold mine managers like Akhona are navigating very complex and rapidly evolving landscape. I hope this episode has given you deeper appreciation of gold mining and the caliber of leadership driving this sector. Thanks for watching. Goodbye and God bless.